How's it going, lads? SgtGnome here, and today I'll be talking about whether or not 2018 has been a disappointing year for the Nintendo Switch. I make this video because lately I've seen a lot of videos of people talking about whether or not 2018 has been a disappointing year. So, the Switch launched last year in March. We saw many great titles, including Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as well as many great indie titles and third-party games. And then, 2018 rolls around. People were expecting the Switch to continue this hype train, but to them, have become disappointed when their expectations didn't align with the reality of what Nintendo has released this year. The complaints that I've been seeing that it's coming out, that they're too focused on ports this year. While this is true with some, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Hyrule Warriors, Captain Toad, Wolfenstein 2, a few examples. We've also seen a lot of brand new games this year, being, Kirby Star Allies, Octopath Traveler, Mario Tennis Aces, as well as the releases later this year, being, Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu, Super Mario Party, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, etc. My opinion on the matter is that I think the Switch honestly is doing perfectly fine in 2018. You've seen the sales numbers. They've sold 20 million units in a year and a half. I just listed a list brand new games that are out or to be released this year. Brand new games. The takeaway for this is just because the games this year are, in your opinion, not as good as last year, does not mean that the Switch is a failure this year. For example, Kirby Star Allies has been panned by multiple people, multiple YouTubers, about being uninspired, it's too easy, it's not worth $60, etc. Okay? And I believe that we, air quotes, hardcore gamers, I don't necessarily think that's, people can label that in, but anyways, us hardcore gamers, air quotes, we tend to forget that the casual consumer, kids, parents, etc., don't follow games. Us very dedicated, this dedicated community, we're up to date on all the rumors, release dates, announcements, development problems, etc. So when the average consumer walks into a GameStop or a Best Buy or a Walmart or a Target or wherever they buy their games, they see Kirby on the shelf and go, this game looks like, insert child name here, we'll enjoy this, so they pick it up. Another example is my niece asked for Kirby for her birthday because she had played it on my Switch and she loved it. To her, as well as many others, I'm sure Kirby's a fantastic game. So in that aspect, just because, in our opinion, that Kirby's too easy, just maybe Kirby wasn't designed for us. I'm a 27 adult male. I bought Kirby because I enjoy Nintendo games. I had fun with it. I agree that it was a little shallow. I felt personally that, there's nothing about it that screamed amazing, but I don't think my age, as well as, other age groups, that's the core audience they're going for. And I'll get more to that into a minute. I'm not saying that, you have to be a certain age to play certain games. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want you to misconstrue that. I'll go into that in a moment. And another argument this year was that, there's a lack of multiple major third-party games that aren't here. And I wouldn't be alarmed over that quite yet. The Switch isn't even 2 years old. Many companies, are rightfully wary of creating content for the Switch after the failure that was the Wii U. I owned a Wii U, but you admit it was a failure. And development of games takes a long time. Many of these companies, they start finally saying, oh, wow, the Switch is successful. This is awesome. They want to start making games for it now. But games take, like I said, take a long time to make. So that's why we got many late ports like Doom, Skyrim, Wolfenstein 2, Crash, etc. Maybe that's why Spyro's not out on it yet. It's because a lot of these games started development before the Switch was even released. And porting a game sure is easier than making a game from the ground up, but it still takes time. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these ports come out so much later than the initial release date. And also, the power of a Switch versus an Xbox One or a PS4, they're nowhere near comparable. I know it ran Doom and stuff because that's a very scalable program they used to create Doom and Wolfenstein. A lot of the times, if you want to port a game, you're going to either, redo it with lower assets or whatever the case is. But, sorry, that's kind of going off track, but you kind of think, I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to say there. Anyways, In my opinion, I've played the Switch more this year than any of my other gaming machines. I own an Xbox One. I have a PS4. I have a high-end gaming PC. I picked up ports from the Wii U this year because I never played them on the Wii U, which I owned. I picked up Hyrule Warriors this year, Captain Toad, Bayonetta 1 and 2, all of these games that were on Wii U, but I never had purchased because I honestly sold my Wii U after I had it because there were too many gaming droughts and I didn't touch it for months. So I missed a lot of these games. So picking them up for me, as well as many others who have never touched them, I think that's why ports are still important and why they're still selling incredibly well on the Switch. Because one, people like to play it on the go, for one. Two, they're porting great games. I mean, there may be a couple here and there that people don't care about, but overall, the ports have been done well. And three, there's a lot of people who haven't played them, myself included. And there's been tons of indie games this year, like Celeste and Dandara. I haven't played myself, but I've heard great things about. I downloaded Flint Hook and all of these titles. I can't think off the top of my head. I don't want to just ramble, but I'll be making a video soon about what's on my Switch. There's more third-party ports whenever Dark Souls decide it wants to come out. I'm really looking forward to picking that up on Switch. Smash Brothers, the end of the year, my most hyped game of the year. Pokemon, I'm a big fan. I've kind of fallen off a little bit. I played Sun and Moon, but I'm not as diehard as I used to be when I was younger, but I still enjoy playing them. I'll pick up Pokemon because I'm itching to play a new one, but I'm really waiting for the hardcore one next year. Mario Party looks great, and so I think there's a lot of good games this year. I think that maybe the Nintendo fan base has become a little greedy, maybe, thinking because last year was so good, there were so many tentpole releases, that they just assume and expect that to be the case all year, which would be great. But I think Nintendo releasing these ports in between tentpole releases is a way for us to be engaged and have something to play, in the meantime, as those high-profile AAA games come out. And I think, again, another reason for this year not being as great as people may say is, again, bringing up the topic of you might not be the target audience for that game. Nintendo Labo is the perfect example of that. They designed that for kids, for an announcement, to build, and I'm sure a lot of kids are having a lot of fun with it, and it wasn't for us adults. We can have fun with it, but just because Labo didn't rock your world doesn't mean it was necessarily a bad year for Nintendo. It may have been a bad year for you. And this isn't, like I said, this isn't to say someone can't enjoy a game or isn't allowed to play a game that's not targeted towards them. I just said the overall takeaway from this is that what makes a year great or bad is dependent on the individual. I know someone personally who hated Breath of the Wild. I personally thought it was alright. It didn't blow me away. I enjoyed Breath of the Wild. It's not my favorite Zelda game. I put like 35 hours into it. I have another friend who's put in 210 hours into it. But it's all, how much did you enjoy it? To me, it was fine. It wasn't my game of the year. It definitely wasn't my friend's game of the year, the one that didn't like the game. So to him, maybe 2017 was a bad year. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't write off the Switch just yet. I don't think there's a need for concern, until we see noticeable sales drops, serious droughts of games, then I think we can probably start to question the stability of the Switch. I wouldn't necessarily say all of Nintendo would be in trouble. They have so much money in the bank, like they could have repeat failures of consoles and still be afloat. But that's just my idea, guys, on the 2018 with the Nintendo, the Switch, and its games. I think they're fine. Not every game this year has been everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. Next year, maybe a slew of games that are, everybody else will like. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like if you enjoyed the video. It really helps us new creators expand and get into the algorithm. I'm working on this channel more, so look forward to more frequent uploads, multiple times a week. I'm really, really excited. Thank you. Have an awesome day, and God bless.